Hi friends, I hope that everybody's doing well. Before we get into the reading, let's set the intention for this to be a space where everyone allows themselves to feel seen and validated, and ultimately for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with everyone's highest good. I'm looking at the Knight of Wands and the Two of Pentacles. There may be something that you're debating, like, should I go this way with it? Should I go that way? How do I manage this? You could also be in a spot where you are looking to manage impulses, impulse control. Could also be somebody that you're dealing with. Let's see what's going on. My name is Gabriella for anybody new tuning in. Starting off with the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups speaks about something that you want. Something that you wish to have, wish to acquire, obtain. Something that you have your sights set on. Maybe you feel like there's a bit of a challenge to get from point A to point B. Potentially. Nine of Pentacles is about being sure of what you want. Like, that thing over there, I definitely want that for sure. But to have the Knight of Wands on the bottom of the deck could feel like there's some obstacles that you have to overcome in order to have that. A focus of the Nine of Pentacles is also not forgetting to be grateful for what it is that you do have. Now that's a tricky situation here. You want something to come to an end, but you know that there's also going to be pain that's involved in this, and you have a choice that needs to be made. I think that should be the title right there. You could also be clear on something that you want and know that something else has to come to an end in order for you to have this other thing. I am looking at something related to a partnership. It seems like this is what would be ending. Even though this may be a hard, meaning difficult ending, it looks like you would move out of it very quickly. It seems like a process that wouldn't take very long, even though, like, emotionally, mentally, it could be quite taxing at the time and place of occurrence. But you know that you want this. So I feel like that lightens the load a bit. Yeah, I'm seeing you sort of bouncing back quite quickly from this experience. You feel like this is what your intuition is guiding you to do. I'm looking at the High Priestess here. You feel like this clicks something into place for you, and that you've kind of had this nagging feeling all along, and now that would be confirmed by this thing coming to an end. Again, I want to emphasize this too. Like, even though you may have known, like, I'm ready for this thing to come to an end. This is not supposed to be living any longer. Like, we really need to dead this cycle. It doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. It doesn't make it hurt less, right? It doesn't. However, it seems like even though it may be a painful plunge to take, I'm seeing you move very quickly into a space where you're like, I really followed my intuition with this. This is what I was supposed to do. I feel very much connected with myself. I feel like I'm being honest with myself too, because when you do something and you end up moving into the space of the High Priestess, this means that you're not only receiving the intuition and the intuitive messages and the advice that you always and already are receiving. It means that you're actually following through with it, and that you feel more confident and self-assured because of that. Like, I knew that my intuition was spot on, and I valued it, and I entrusted within this process because I knew that that's what was in alignment for me. And so there's a focus here on you really showing up for yourself, even showing up for yourself in a way that may have been less tangible but that doesn't make it any less real. And this is what's really important here, because this shows ultimately your faith in yourself, your connection with yourself, your connection with your higher self, which also translates to your connection with like spirit and your spirit guides and like your spirit team, whatever it is that you label it as. So I'm seeing this feel good to you. It's kind of like, now, I don't want to trivialize this ending because it may have been something quite big for you, or it may be something quite big for you that you're going through. However, it's going to feel like small potatoes later on, is the feeling that I get from this, even though it may feel like a big deal when you're in the midst of it. Yeah, something about you wanted this ending, getting this over and over again. Something's dragging behind you and it feels heavy. You may be looking for some help to alleviate the pressure or the stress. Sometimes I get guides come through that are actually so funny. We're trying to stick to the point here. Okay, you're going through a big shift right now. You're going through a big change. It is going to feel difficult at times to find your footing because of how quickly things are happening. The best thing that you can do is to adjust moment by moment, day by day. And kind of get used to this being a fluid process. It feels even like you became unstuck, like you were stuck within a partnership to someone. Not saying that like you're stuck just because like it's nobody's fault here. It's not about pointing the finger at anybody. It's more so about like you may have been very connected or like even attached to a particular identity that revolved around you and this person, where like you may have even felt like you lost yourself a bit within this. And like I am seeing some sort of separation where you feel liberated, and you even feel like dusting this part of yourself off that you could have felt you lost touch with, or like you lost the potency of the connection, it could have felt like. And now something seems like it's amped up now. Intuitively, it seems like you're getting insight now enough to make a plan as well. For some of you, this may not have happened yet. It seems like you're the one that has to devise this. To have the Magician on the bottom of the deck, it means like you're well prepared to do whatever this is. Yes. You have to be the one to initiate this. Yes. There may be a conversation involved with Mercury showing up here. Something that you have to create, something that you have to make. It's going to take time. It's going to take planning. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. Doing this process in the most loving way as possible is going to be very, very important. You may be walking away from somebody that you feel was like a terrible partner for you. You may feel like you were trying to work with somebody that did not want to work with you in any way, and that like you were very happy to wipe your hands clean of this. Remind yourself to like bring yourself back to the point of all of this. It's not about judging the other person. You're going to get sidetracked if this is what you're focusing on. Holding anger, holding animosity, any sort of salty feelings that you have towards this person. anything like that, you want to focus on unity and work from a space of unity, and you want to be as loving as you can through this process, both for yourself and also towards the other person. Forget about like whether we think somebody deserves it or not. It does not matter. This is about doing so from a space with love in your heart, because that is how you create more love, and that's also how you shield yourself from taking on karma that you're going to have to later pay off. So it's saving yourself now. So you really want to pay attention to like, what is my intention here as far as what I'm manifesting? Because if you're doing anything with the intention of like being cruel or getting anybody back in any sort of way, or like they deserve it because they did this, they did that, it's not going to end well for you, karmically speaking. So it's just something to be mindful of. Two, you also want to watch how you're talking about other people. It's also something to be mindful of. And if you're not doing that, then that doesn't apply to you and you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, you want to watch what you're creating with your words. Because it will always, always, always affect you, come back to you karmically. And two, if you have a feeling that somebody's trying to pull you into something that energetically you don't want to be involved in, be mindful of that too. Also, I will say this too. There's so many thoughts and emotions that we can have that, but like even your higher self can be like, oh, that was kind of mean. And like, you can't really help these things when they pop up, you know? It's kind of just part of being human. You can't like really control everything that's coming through. But you have a filtering process and you can decide what you want to do with those things. So if you're starting to have feelings pop up where like you're like harboring animosity or like anything that derives from a place of fear or separation, separateness, it's something that you want to catch it when it's coming through and transmute it. It's going to feel important because I'm seeing something about these little feelings coming up about like feeling a type of way towards this person. And it's just something to be mindful of, to kind of go back to this space of like, why is that popping up? What is that telling me? Like, I don't need to take that at face value. I can understand, like, maybe that's a message to me. Like, I feel resentful towards that person because I actually have boundaries here and I haven't been asserting them. Okay. So stuff like that, you want to pay attention to it rather than judging yourself for having these feelings also, you know, because again, there are lots of things that happen in our brains that we can't control. It's just something to be mindful of and figure out how to transmute the energy while not holding on to it and feeling like you need to then make that part of your identity and go on to perpetuate whatever that is. Yes. That's a confirmation right there. Yeah. Yeah, I will say this too, for some of you, like this Five of Swords that you've been seeing that's been showing up for you, it's because of what's going on within the dynamic of you and this person, or maybe the lack thereof, of like harmony and unity, and you being in a space where, because of these things that are going on that you're feeling, it's time to like edit and focus on these things for ourselves. Like, why am I seeing a partnership here and the energy that's following it is actually an energy that symbolizes separation? Like, how does that make sense? It doesn't. And so I'm seeing you be in a space where you're like, you know what, I just realized that something is going on that I don't actually want, and I do want this to come to an end, even if it's going to be difficult. Because I'm not seeing, it's like very, very clear here what it is that you want to do, what it is that's coming to fruition, what's being planned. I'm seeing an ending that for some of you has not happened yet, but the seeds are being planted for that, meaning this is the beginning of a manifestation for you that's being recognized, because you're in a space where you're checking in and you're like, what do I want? When I ask my heart, like, what I want to be carrying on and also what I'm looking for, I'm recognizing that, like, something I've been participating in needs to come to an end because it's not in alignment with me anymore. It's not in alignment with my heart space. And I actually feel more separate from this person than I do feel together with them when they're supposed to be, like, maybe the closest person to me. And I'm seeing you be in a space where you're like, that's what my intuition has been telling me. And for some of you too, you're going to feel this because, like, with your partner, you've been feeling like so much resentment and all of that, and asking yourself, like, why am I staying around? Why am I sticking around for this? And also, why am I feeling that? Because again, like, when there's like a lack of trust here between you and this person, you can also feel like, I do X, Y, and Z for them and they don't do this for me and whatever. And it's like, is that unconditional love, doing things for people, like expecting some sort of exchange, you know? Or are we doing things from the kindness of our hearts? Are you with someone that you thought, like, if I just kept doing this, they would turn around and then this would happen and, like, this would change over here? Or are we getting into a space where we're understanding that if you are going to do something in a space where you are showing unconditional love, it means that there are not conditions on what you're doing. It means, like, you're just doing it to do it, regardless of what you do or don't receive in return. And if you're in a space where what you're doing feels like it's crossing a line or crossing a boundary because you're not getting what you need from a situation, it's something to look at further. Because this even feels like I'm hearing calcified. It feels like this is something that's been going on, and it doesn't have to be with the same relationship. This can just be an energetic cycle that's happening. For some of you, it can be the same person that you've been with. But I'm seeing you be in such a space where you feel like so hardened off and so closed off towards this person. Maybe not in other areas of your life. Maybe just when it comes to you and this person. Maybe when it comes to you thinking about partnerships in general because of the experience that you've had. And something that you want to look into more deeply, because I'm seeing a crack in the system here. This area where you had been, like, feeling so frozen in the heart space in relation to this person, I'm seeing something happening where there's like a cracking open. And I'm seeing this Page of Cups here, like, hey, the High Priestess wants to have a conversation with you. Like, can I get you on the phone here to talk to them? And it's showing up here, and it's your higher self trying to give you a call to talk to you. And it looks very much like a message has successfully come through now. It seems too like you're kind of getting back to your roots within a situation also, and seeing, reminding yourself of, like, what the Two of Cups, what that Two of Cups actually looks like for you. That Two of Cups, what that unity looks like, what that harmony looks like, what that seeing eye to eye with somebody and being able to share a glance and a knowing and feel like you're on the same wavelength as somebody and feel close and have that shared intimacy and all of that. And you being in a space where you're like, I feel like whatever I've been involved with right now is conflicting with my idea of what that actually is. And it seems like a bit of a wake-up call for you. Like, even a melting of the ice is what I'm seeing. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everybody for joining. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.